Okay, today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 9:30, and this is the Legal Review Committee meeting of the Motor Vehicle Commission. I am Chairman Carl Kramer, Commissioner Carl Kramer, my bad. I'm Chairman of the Legal Committee. I would like to make note for the record that the following members of the Legal Committee are present. I've got Chairman Roberts, Commissioner Norton, Commissioner Andrews, and Commissioner Levy, and myself. Additionally, we are joined by Executive Director Denise Lawrence, Assistant Director Jason Gilliam, and our legal staff, Erica Smith and Taylor Hilton. Our disciplinary counsel, Sierra Shepard, who serves as our program attorney, is also in attendance. I'll now open the floor for discussion and any comments about the report.
I'll tell you, Chairman Kramer,
Mike, please.
I have an overall, I'm not going to discuss an individual case today, but I'm going to bring up a kind of a plural of what I recognized and saw in the legal review as I read it. But we have a lot of people that are not answering to the Motor Vehicle Commission. And Erica and Taylor, what can we do to remedy that about people not answering us when we send out notices to them? And
So if, under our statute, which we are in the process of changing right now, in order to find somebody, we have to have sent it via certified mail. Unfortunately, legal does not handle the mailing. It's by our centralized complaint departments, and they have been directed to send it out via certified mail if we don't get a response. However, sometimes it doesn't happen with all the complaints that come in. And so if we have proof that it went out via certified mail and they did not respond, we are fining them. If it did not go out via certified mail and we don't have proof of that, all we can do is really a letter of warning until we get that statute change. So that's kind of how we've been operating. If they don't respond and we have certified mail, we're fining them $1,000 right now, $1,000. And if they did not respond and we don't have certified mail proof, we're doing the letter of warning.
okay. Well, I noticed on 69 and 78, and I said I wouldn't say anything about any particular case, but those were just letters of warnings too.
That would just be because they didn't go out via certified mail.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha. Yeah, go ahead.
Commissioner Norton, I'd like to comment on that. So as I observed the same thing about not responding, and as in case number 32, the respondent explained as for the failure to respond, they were under the belief they responded, but realized it's to the Consumer Affairs Department in the Attorney General's office, not the Commission. Respondent apologized for their mistake. There's one other case like that in this review. Our dealerships have personally been affected by the fact it's very confusing who we're dealing with, because the letterheads say both. You get something that says Consumer Affairs. It's just a mixed signal, and I think staff's been involved with my attorney as well to clear this up. But when I saw that, it resonated because we struggle with that as well.
Yeah,
So.
and I think we discussed that internally as well, which was, I forgot to mention that, which was another one we did a letter of warning for that one where they mentioned that, because we do understand, and once we cleared it up for them, they did respond. So we just did a letter of warning on that one, just so they're aware going forward, if you have anything coming from us, you do need to respond.
Right.
Will there be clarification on that going forward?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
and like our cover letter that goes along with the complaint that may have started at the Consumer Affairs Division, it does state that you need to respond to the Department of Commerce and Insurance, Motor Vehicle Commission. So
But they get the same form. So they
Right.
get the same form that comes from the Attorney General's office if it's referred over. So we understand there is confusion,
Yeah.
which is why I think we discussed starting with that letter of warning for those ones, which is what we did on all of them.
he was just asking if there was going to be more clarification. So I just
Oh,
wanted
okay,
to
sorry.
share-
I thought you meant on our letter of warning. Are we going to clarify that they need to
Yeah.
be responding to each department?
I'm talking about the clarification as to who to answer to.
Okay.
I am definitely open to suggestions on how to be more clear. I don't think we can get around the fact that we are going to use the same complaint because the complaint is getting referred to us. But I'm definitely open to suggestions on how we can make it more clear that, you need to respond to the Motor Vehicle Commission Does anybody have any suggestions?
Well, and I can't speak to every instance, but, I mean, we started this project with the Consumer Affairs Division because we had been collaborating on so many of the complaints that really should come to us as opposed to them, and vice versa. So, what I started doing routinely is whenever they send us a complaint, we look at it and I'll say, we're gonna open this complaint because, yes, we think this is a legitimate complaint, or no, you know, best handled by you guys. And they are good about keeping us up to date on when they receive notification. We try to do the same, but I will say in our defense, though the form is the same, clearly the email, the communication that is sent from the Attorney General's office versus Commerce and Insurance is clearly different. There's typically a cover letter from us that says Department of Commerce and Insurance, Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission, and theirs says Division of Consumer Complaints with the Attorney General's office. I mean, and we know it's confusing, and we try not to be, I mean, that's why we've got lots of.
And I will say, Taylor and I, we always reach out to the respondent if we got a referral from Consumer Affairs and we have not received a response, we always give the respondent a chance to respond before we penalize them. So
Sure.
we don't ever skip that step when we're in this situation, because we do understand that despite the letter, if you were to read the cover letter, it is very clear, but we understand that it still can be confusing. So we always do that. So I don't know if that makes a difference, if that helps the commission to feel
Well, whatever
better about
clarifies
this.
and gives them one place to go rather than two places would be much helpful, I would think.
We unfortunately cannot control that because a consumer has the availability to open a complaint under the Attorney General's office as well as us, and then they refer over to sometimes. And so I don't think that there's really a way to get them locked into one. But we do work with them, that we're trying to streamline that. That's why we met with them, to try to have them refer ones over to us that they believe should have been with us instead of it being open in both departments. But I don't know that there's a way we can get a complaint.
Can you all at least get with them and ask them how we can make this thing a little bit more clear?
We can meet with them again and see if there's a way to
Maybe make the letters
Yeah.
bigger on the letter
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, no, I think we can definitely discuss with them
Well,
a way
it
to
would-
try
it
to
would- it would benefit-
differentiate a little bit more.
It would benefit the consumer and it'd benefit the dealer body. And I'd be curious to know, I'm going to inquire what other states do that might have the similar problem, maybe how they resolved it, because you go up 10,000 feet, you know, what is the way for the consumer to access? What's the best way? you
And
know?
maybe they can put some kind of disclaimer on their website. If you have this type of complaint, it's probably best handled by the Motor Vehicle Commission or vice versa. Maybe we can get some kind of disclaimer out there on one of the websites.
You know, the automotive industry is dominated by the mail. My wife told me, she said, you just don't pay attention. So probably me just not paying attention, like Denise said. It's clearly on the document, on the cover letter. We just don't pay attention.
And we also will reach out to Consumer Affairs and ask them if they've gotten a response. So we'll get a copy of it,
Okay.
and we'll
Yeah.
use that.
Okay.
And we really do go to quite a bit of trouble to try to help,
Good.
understanding the confusion. But, you know, with that said, the Consumer Affairs Division and the Motor Vehicle Commission are looking into the same complaint for very different reasons.
Okay.
So there has to be, it can be the same response, and we've told respondents that too. Like, you can just send us a copy of what you sent. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or rewrite the response, you know, just.
Sure.
And again, we'll try to get a copy from Consumer Affairs. But yeah, we can definitely try to make it more bold on the
Yes.
letter, make the type bigger.
There you go.
To make it more clear, and maybe add a sentence in there in bold that, you know, make sure you respond to both
Mm-hmm.
agencies.
Yeah, and along those lines, something I'd mention, it sounds like you have a pretty good process. I really appreciate the interdepartmental communication. I think that's really important, and thank you for being ahead of that and doing that. I know when my accountant needs me to do something, he gives me a checklist. And it may be that on these forms that maybe the simple addition of a checklist saying, hey, if you're getting this, be sure to check these couple things, you know, where they can check to see if it's duplicate or not. That may be something that could save people a bit of time and effort just point them in the right direction.
Yeah, we'll definitely get in touch with our centralized complaints departments that handle the response requests, and as well as the Attorney General's office about trying to come up with some kind of way to make it more clear.
Okay, next item I've got is just in general, a lot of title and registration issues. I mean, a lot of them. And I think that electronic filing would really help us. And I guess I just want to establish a timeline on where we are and things of that sort. Stan, can you share with us some information you have?
I will. I was asked by Chairman Roberts to follow up on this. We started talking about ELTs, or electric lien and title, probably a year ago, and Denise has been involved as well. And so we researched. There's no change since this is got enacted, but Tennessee Public Chapter 745 was enacted in April of 2024, and it was signed by the governor. It mandates the Department of Revenue to procure and implement electronic lien and title system for the entire state by June 30th of 2026. So, and that's just a little over a year from now. So the key provisions is procurement and implementation. The Department of Revenue is responsible for procuring and implementing the ELT system by the specified deadline. The definition of ELT system, the law clarifies that electronic lien and title system refers to the programming, facilitating the exchange of lien and title information with the lien holders. The system will be also used for creating, saving, modifying, and transferring property titles. The ELT system will be used throughout the state. In essence, the law aims to modernize the lien and title process in Tennessee by transitioning to an electronic system, improving efficiency, reducing a reliance on paper-based methods. This process is being run by the Commissioner of the Department of Revenue, David Garagano, and is most informed is Allison Raymer Garner, Director of Title and Registration, who's taking the lead on this. I've spoken with Allison. It's been about 3 months ago. They are looking to vet and find a vendor. One other thing this does, it mitigates a lot of fraud as well. So Chairman Roberts brought it back up yesterday. Some of the commissioners are involved in making sure we push the departments to make sure they're getting on top of it, make sure they are procuring a vendor. It is a pretty lengthy process. It takes time and diligence, but I think it'll make the state of Tennessee much better, and it'll eliminate, like Chairman Roberts says, a lot of the issues we're having on titles, because by the time you take to get a title now with a payoff or an auction, the chain of the links in the chain, and then you have a county clerk that's 40 days behind, which we have in Shelby County right now, it puts a burden on the dealer and the consumer and the staff at Motor Vehicle Commission, because a third of these complaints are related to that. So it's real antiquated, inefficient, and thanks, Chairman, for pushing this to the front again. We'll be diligent, and we'll keep everybody informed, and we'll do the best we can to get Tennessee in front of that.
And one last comment on that. I think what aggravates it too about the problem with registration and titles is the fact that we have two 60-day tags that just get it pushed out so far for the problem. And I know why we have it. It's because of Memphis. Memphis is the reason we do it all over the whole state. And so with that being said, I don't know what we can ever do about that except go back to 30-day, and that's revenue, and there's a lot of buttons to push. But that's just my opinion.
Well, the tag extension fixed the symptom, not the problem. And Commissioner Vaughn's shaking her head. Yes, she's spearheading a charge then to try to rectify part of that problem. But I think all this will be remedied by the electronic title. It'll help things, and it'll start with just, I think the first phase of it's going to be just the noting of the lien. We have a temporary lien system now, but this will be an actual noting of the lien, which will protect a lot of people. But just the consumer getting their tags has been a pretty issue. Hence, all the problems in our review today is related to the fact that there's a title today based on it's antiquated, it's paper. Deal with it. We have 10 auctions, and I'm telling you, it's just a constant battle trying to get a paper title. But anyway.
Well, and you reminded me, so thank you, and Commissioner Vaughn. It is a huge problem in Shelby County. Our dealers are suffering greatly, and we feel, I'm frustrated. We're not sure where else to turn or where to go to, but I did promise Commissioner Vaughn, and this slipped my mind, and I will do this today, to send an email to all of our Shelby County dealers to make sure that they are actually documenting when they make the submissions to the county clerk. I think that will be helpful for us to have or for our dealers to have a little bit of ammunition going forward to say, this was submitted on such and such date, and here we are 120 days after the fact, and we still have nothing. So I will do that today.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I would just like to pay you all a compliment on the number of cases that are closed. And going through and taking a look, you know, I know, and I don't know what to attribute it to, and I don't know if you're seeing a rise in the number of anxious consumers that are going back to the dealers, whether it's on cars sold as is. I saw a lot of that. You know, recalls that weren't apparent at the time of sale. But assessing the situation and closing it rather than dragging it on when it's really probably evidence of anxiety on behalf of the customer. And I hate that they're anxious and I hate that they're having trouble, but them having trouble doesn't make it the dealer's responsibility. And so thank you very much for being diligent in that. And I was very pleased to see accurate assessments in a large number of these cases. So thank you.
Back to the temporary tag issue, I noticed there, like, I think it was 47 and 49 maybe, that we were finding somebody for excess number of temporary tags going out. I think we've talked about this before, but how does somebody get hold of extra tags? It's through the computer, they manipulating the system?
So,
According to revenue, that's impossible.
Well,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Was that snarky?
well, from what I've heard, and I can't prove this, but just this is what I've heard and it sounds reasonable. Of course, there's still dealers that are allowed to use the paper tags that they still have. I don't know when that ends, but I guess once you run out, you can't use them anymore. They're not gonna give you, so of course, that's really easy to manipulate. But
Okay.
as far as the easy tag system, what I've seen dealers say is they will put a note in there like, oh, the temporary tag was lost, or it got wet, and they'll be able to print a duplicate. Or, you know, I think whatever reason you can come up with, it sounds like you can put in there. And then I've also seen dealers change the sale date to make it look like it's a new sale.
Okay.
But it's the same customer, it's the same, you know, so that's, lets you know that it's just them getting a third temporary tag by changing the sale date, and that allows them to reset and go back to the first temporary tag. Those are just some things that I've seen.
Okay. Well, I guess we've got the fine for them getting the extra temporary tag. Should there be an additional fine for them being deceitful about it, or, I mean?
Is that hard to prove?
It is because we do not have any authority or real access to the Easy Tag system. It's completely under the umbrella of the Department of Revenue. If we were the ones that, you know, worked with the vendor to create it and had any kind of access to it outside of just looking up a VIN number, I think we could prove it easily. But it really is, I think we only have the ability to issue a civil penalty for too many temporary tags based on our statute, and anything else the Department of Revenue would be able to prove, not us. Now, if we were able to get them to help us with that, that would be a different story, but.
And I think, as Erica said, a lot of the examples that she's provided are anecdotal. We've got a few, very few, where we had the inspector go out and they noticed there were too many temporary tags, and they actually provided additional information. We're able to see that where they may have changed the date or whatever they did. But again, as Erica said, we just don't have access to that system. And I will say now, I shouldn't have been so quick to speak earlier. Jason and I are actually attending the County Clerks Conference, May the 12th and 13th, I think is when we'll be there. And Revenue will also be there for the titling Vehicle Services Division. And I've reached out to them to ask if we could have a meeting to sort of discuss some of these things, to see how we can help each other. You know, I don't have the answers. I don't know what the answers are, but, you know, we take that violation you guys take that violation very seriously. And I'm sure they don't want to see people abusing the Easy Tag system either, so.
And I think if we were able to prove it, like, let's say a dealer put in their sworn statement that this is what they did, that would be proof enough, and we could use our statute that prohibits dealers from engaging in like a false, fraudulent, or deceptive act. related to the sale of a vehicle. That's kind of our catch-all. But it would be kind of doubling down on the same act. So it is a possibility if we could prove it, and there are cases where we could, but we normally don't double down on the same act. Maybe if it happened, the dealer, if it became a problem with that dealer, I think it would be, that would be relevant and probably warrant that additional civil penalty.
I'm just thinking, they're putting thought into how they get another temporary tag, and so it's probably not just happened once, and then who else is doing that? That we're not, you know, anyway. It's
Yeah,
just my thoughts.
and I think to go off of what Erica was saying, if they're getting a third temporary tag that they shouldn't be getting, they're obviously doing something that they shouldn't be doing. So I think there's definitely an argument to be made under that false, fraudulent, deceptive acts. If you are wanting to fine them twice for the same action, which you can do, it's just typically you have to decide if you want to do a separate violation for the same act twice.
I just have one more. I was just looking at case number 22, and we assessed a $5,000 civil penalty for misuse of dealer tag. Just curious, this respondent is in a building, and he leases to a third-party mechanic, and I'm not sure if that third-party mechanic is his relationship for his license for his service work. But we find him for that mechanic's shop using his dealer tag to test drive cars. And I'm assuming test drive means when they're checking the car out. And I know our mechanics on staff, they test drive the cars with our dealer tags, but there are mechanics. And it just struck me as odd. Is that really a misuse
We
of
had
tag?
great discussion about this one internally, kind of on that. And based off the information we have on the response, they made it appear that they are completely separate businesses and they are not connected with each other, and that they sometimes let them do repairs on their vehicles, and then they also sometimes let them use the the dealer's tag on other vehicles that are there to test drive. They've said that they've stopped doing that, but that was kind of the system that they had in place. If they come back once they get this consent order and give us some different information, I will happily represent it. But based on the information we had, it appeared that they are separate businesses that happen to just be on the same land that they pass a dealer's tag back and forth
Yeah,
from.
of course, if the dealer tag, I mean, if it didn't have a tag, if it was a car, it was being under reconditioning purposes. If it was just the dealer's car, I would make an argument that well, are they really doing anything wrong? But if they're doing it for every,
Yeah.
they're busy. I see.
Yeah,
the
and
point.
that's the information we have based on the response they're giving. If that wants to discuss a little bit further, if you don't want to do $5,000, I'm open to discussion on that. We discussed this very in depth internally on if the fine was appropriate for it, but based on how the response was worded, that's the understanding we had of what was happening.
Well, I mean, they were honest, and they said they do use other cars as well, not just the dealer on the site there.
Yeah.
What was their demeanor on repairing the situation? Were they?
They stopped completely,
They did?
is what their response was.
Well, my opinion. I mean, I believe in upholding the laws and the statutes, but it does seem a little harsh on the penalty.
Yeah, we discussed that a lot, and I believe, like, the belief was that just because they said it happened multiple times is what they went to $5,000. But I'm completely open to discussion of a lower fine or whatever you guys think is appropriate for that.
Well, if you're based on what you're telling me that they repaired the situation and in honesty, I would recommend lowering the fine. 5,000 seems pretty. I wouldn't use the word egregious, but it seems a little heavy-handed.
Well, I'm guessing when you say there's a lot of discussion, did it have to do with the scale of the business? Because, $5,000 can be a very different thing depending on how big an organization it is. So I'm guessing there's an assessment that this would be enough to change behavior and have their full attention without being egregious? Was that the discussion process?
I think there was just a lot of back and forth on what would be an appropriate civil penalty just based on how many. We didn't have an exact number of cars that this has happened on, just based on the wording, what we were anticipating that meant. Jason is pulling up their sales so we can get a better idea of how many cars they sell a year.
Because if it's in proportion to the size of the organization to get their attention without putting them under, I mean, I don't have a problem with $5,000 as long as it's not just egregious.
They reported 88 sales. So
That's a small business.
So it's a smaller
For the year,
business,
it's
yeah.
very small. I would recommend based on it.
88 a month or 88 a year?
A year, per year.
Oh, yeah, that's
Annual
that's
sales
tough.
report.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'd recommend as little as 1,000 or as much as 2,500. I'd just be open for that.
Yeah, I'm open for whatever you guys
I'm
think
good
is
with that, too.
appropriate.
I think it should be,
1,000,
Lower.
is that what we're going with?
I think 1,000.
I think 1,000.
Okay.
And assume there's follow-up to be sure the behavior's changed.
Yeah, and then if they come back with any other different information based on this consent order, I will, of course, bring it back to you guys.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
We need
That's
a
all right.
motion.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, we do need a motion on
to
that.
make that change.
So moved.
I make a motion to change the civil penalty from $5,000 to $1,000.
Second.
I'll call the roll so we can do that.
Okay.
The motion is to amend the penalty on number 22. On number 22, the motion is to amend the penalty from $5,000 to $1,000, made by Commissioner Norton, seconded by Commissioner Andrews. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye, and Chairman Roberts
Aye.
votes aye. Motion carries.
So I'd entertain a motion to adopt the legal report as amended by the legal committee.
So moved.
Second.
Denise?
The motion is to adopt the legal report as amended, made by Commissioner Kramer and seconded by Commissioner Roberts, is that correct? Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye, and Chairman Roberts
Aye.
votes aye. You've adopted the legal report as amended.
Anything else, Carl? I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All right, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back in about 3 to 4 minutes.
All right, if everybody will kind of get in their seats, we'll get started. I think the chairman's ready.
Let's go ahead and get started this morning. This is the regular quarterly meeting of the Motor Vehicle Commission dated April 23rd, 2025, and it is about 10:02. And Executive Director Lawrence, will you make sure we have a quorum? Call the roll.
Yes, sir, I will call the roll. Commissioner Andrews
Here?
is present. Commissioner Copenhaver
Here.
is present. Commissioner Elam
Present.
is present. Commissioner Evans is present. Commissioner Galvin
Here.
is present. Commissioner Kramer
Here.
is present. Commissioner Levy
Here.
is present. Commissioner Norton
Here.
is present. Commissioner Owens
Here.
is present. Commissioner Rydell
Here.
is present. Commissioner Vaughn
Here.
is present. And Chairman Roberts
Present.
is present. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Notice of public comments to be held. It'll be held at the end of the meeting if there's any comments. Meeting notice, Executive Director Lawrence.
Yes, sir. This meeting's date, time, and location have been noticed on the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission's website, included as part of this year's meeting calendar since December 3rd, 2024. Additionally, the agenda for this month's meeting has been posted on the website since April 16th of 2025. It's also been noticed on the tn.gov website.
Okay. We need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Commissioner Vaughn, so moved.
Any further discussion? Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll?
The motion is to adopt the agenda made by Commissioner Vaughn, seconded by Commissioner Norton. And Commissioner Levy
Aye.
votes aye. Commissioner Elam
Aye.
votes aye. Commissioner Rydell
Aye.
votes aye. Commissioner Copenhaver
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Andrews.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Galvin.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Vaughn.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Owens. Votes aye, Commissioner Kramer.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Evans.
Aye.
Votes aye, and Chairman Roberts.
Aye.
You have adopted the agenda.
Okay, everyone got the copies to the minutes from the January 28th meeting and also the rulemaking hearing, March 17th, 2025. What's your pleasure on the minutes?
Commissioner Vaughn, we approve both minutes.
Second, Commissioner Galvin.
Any further discussion? If not, Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll for the vote?
The motion is to adopt both the January minutes and the minutes for our rulemaking hearing on March the 17th, made by Commissioner Vaughn, seconded by Commissioner Galvin. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Elam?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Copenhaver?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens? Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Votes aye, and Chairman Roberts
Aye.
votes aye. You have adopted both the minutes from January and the March 17 rulemaking hearing.
Okay. Next, we have salesperson dealer appeals. It will be DWD Motors. They will come on down and, yes, tell us who you are.
Yes, sir. My name is Tim Householder. Mr. Chairman, I'm an attorney from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I represent Jamie Tharp, who is the applicant for DWD Motors LLC. Mr. Tharp's here in
Okay.
the audience. And we're here today to address any concerns that the commission has and clear up any confusion to rectify any possible misperceptions that may have existed at the time the application was made, to answer any questions, obviously, that the commission has.
I think I'll refer to our counsel here and let her bring us up to date with information. Erica, will you talk to us about this?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So I'm going to just go over some of the information that we have that kind of led us to look into this situation just a little bit more. And we wanted to give the information that I found to the commission to do with, what you would like to do with it. If you want to ask questions about it, you're welcome to. But we thought the information I'm going to give you is pertinent to the business relationship between Mr. Tharp, who is the applicant here, and Mr. Dylan Trent, who's also here, who had previously submitted the application for this dealership. And that the commission is allowed to discuss those business relationships and ask about character, integrity, honesty of anybody involved in that business under TCA 55-17-111A. So I'm going to go over kind of the timeline. It's going to be quite a bit of information and it might get confusing, so just bear with me. You can ask me any questions that you want once I'm done, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that it's a lot. So originally, Mr. Dylan Trent submitted the application for DWD, the dealership, on May 28th of last year. He had recently been approved for a salesperson's license in April of last year. He was originally denied based on some felony convictions of crimes of moral turpitude. He came and appealed, and you gave him his salesperson's license. Then Mr. Trent submitted the DWD dealer application, and we denied it based on those felony convictions, and he came and appealed in front of you at the July 2024 meeting, where you upheld the denial, and you did not give him his dealer license. So then we have this most recent DWD application for the same dealership, same location, same everything, but under Mr. Tharp as the owner. So we denied that dealer application just based on kind of what I went over, the fact that all the the information I'm about to give you, we thought that you might want to question Mr. Tharp and Mr. Trent about their business relationship under 5517-111A. So these are the things that we wanted you to possibly consider if you felt that it was pertinent to the business relationship and running a dealership. First, when we sent an inspector out to DWD, once we did get this application, Mr. Trent was the one that was there at the dealership. He provided all of the documents, dealt with our inspector, answered all the questions. So I think it is pretty clear that he'll be managing it. And of course, you can talk to them. They can refute that if they want. But based on what we've seen, Mr. Trent, not Mr. Tharp, will be running this dealership and selling vehicles. At the time, Mr. Trent told the inspector that he was a salesperson for Hopper Auto Sales, but then told, once we started an investigation into DWD, because we thought they might be engaging in some unlicensed activity, told our inspector or our investigator, and in a sworn statement, that he was a salesperson for Old Ben Franklin. And at the time, and up until actually yesterday, he has not had a salesperson's license at Old Ben Franklin. And that is because on his application for Old Ben Franklin to be a salesperson there, he stated that he did not have any criminal convictions. So we gave him an opportunity on March 20th. Actually, I'm sorry, he submitted the application on March 20th. On March 24th, we stated, you can correct this, state that you have convictions, because we know that you have in the past. And we didn't hear from him until over a month later. So in the last month, he's not had a salesperson's license, but his Facebook page just shows that he's been selling at Old Ben Franklin without that license all the way back to 2018. So I'm going to show you some videos and some pictures of that. And I just want to make it clear that Mr. Trent has not had a salesperson's license until 2024. So there's, on his Facebook page, on DWD's Facebook page, there's just hundreds of photos and videos of him selling cars before he's had a salesperson's license for the last 6 years prior to 2024. So since 2018, Mr. Trent has submitted applications for 3 separate salesperson's licenses. And again, didn't actually get a salesperson's license until 2024. In 2018, he applied for his first salesperson's license with Old Ben Franklin and lied on that application about having no criminal convictions. Never corrected that. So, and then here we are this year, same thing, applied to be a salesperson at Old Ben Franklin and lied about his criminal convictions and didn't fix it for a month. So that just kind of, you might want to consider that when it comes to his character, integrity, honesty, respect for the rules. Then in 2021, he applied for a salesperson's license for a different dealership, Road Ready. And he was honest on that application, never appealed, but so he's not had a salesperson's license when it came to that application. And it wasn't until 2024 when he applied for Mo Auto Sales that we did give him that license, and that's when he came before you and appealed, and you granted him that salesperson's license. That's for Mo Auto Sales. So in 2024,
And that was 1 year ago, almost to the day from this meeting. that We
Right.
gave him the salesman's license.
Right, but prior to that, he never had a salesperson's license. So it just seems like he may have been engaging in some unlicensed activity. So I'm going to show you something on the screen here in a minute, but I wanted to go over all the facts first. So the best case scenario is that Mr. Trent had a valid salesperson's license from April of '24 until March of this year. And there has just been multiple applications to transfer his license to different dealerships where he's been honest except for the Old Ben Franklin application. So kind of moving on to a different subject, when it comes to DWD, the dealership, like I said, we did an investigation based on the DWD Facebook page showing that there's just been a lot of activity by Mr. Trent stating that he's selling vehicles at various dealerships, including Old Ben Franklin, all the way back to 2018. So we did do an investigation, and that's where I found the things that I'm going to show you. There's been testimonials online by multiple, I guess you would call them consumers, and I'm going to show you those, just a few of those testimonials of consumers stating that they bought cars from Mr. Trent while he didn't have a license, and it appears that they bought them from DWD. So there's just a lot of confusion. So that's why I thought I'd show it to you to let you decide. You'll see that DWD Motors' current Facebook page provides Mr. Trent's phone number, states that consumers can call him for 100% approval. They can, quote, come see him today and drive home in a new ride. When others say no, I say yes, because I don't care about your credit, I care about you. Mr. Trent just recently posted a video on DWD stating that the dealership would be open in May, but he's currently at Old Ben Franklin selling, I guess, in the meantime. But again, he didn't have a license there. And like I said, there's hundreds of videos posted by Mr. Trent on DWD's Facebook page going back to 2018 with pictures of him and consumers and cars, obviously like them holding the keys and showing that they had just bought a car. There's a post from 2022 where Mr. Trent provides a website, dwd123.net, and states that it's his new website with vehicle inventory for consumers to go look at. And again, that's in 2022. There's no dealership license. There's no salesperson's license at that time. So in summary, it just means that Mr. Trent seemed to continue to work for Old Ben Franklin going back to 2018, despite being denied a license twice, not being honest on his application. And then we've got these testimonials that I'm going to show you. So I'll just go ahead and pull those up.
Real quickly, what happened in March that the license that we granted expired?
The one we granted in March was for a different dealership. So anytime they transfer, they have to submit the new application. And then that's when the Old Ben Franklin application came in, and we couldn't approve it because,
Was that a special call meeting?
yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I think Erica said March. She was referring to when Mr. Trent submitted his transfer application from wherever he was licensed at the time to go to Old Ben Franklin. It was denied because there were inaccuracies on it, and I believe staff reached out to Old Ben Franklin at that time and said, if you'll correct this, we'll take care of it, no problem. And we just didn't hear back until
April 17th.
April 17th.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the Facebook page that I've been referring to. As you can see, it's DWD Motors. There's a phone number here, dealing with Dylan. I know that's probably what DWD also stands for as a brand. But this Facebook page has been in operation since at least 2018. I'm not going to scroll all the way down. That would take a long time. But I have looked at it myself. And you can see here, there's his phone number. Call me for 1,000% approval. This address is actually for a different dealership. I believe it was Hopper Auto Sales, which I believe he did have a license there at one point last year. I'll just play this video.
I know I've been gone like your last baby daddy when you told him you was pregnant, but I'm here now. DWD Motors will be open in May, so stay tuned. Coming soon to a hood near you. Now, in the meantime, between time, thousands of people have been hitting me up. I need a car, I need a car. I didn't want to leave you hanging. I wanted to take care of you in good hands like Allstate. So for the next 30 days, I will be here. 4311 Clinton Highway. #1 finance in the country. Over 400 vehicles to choose from. If I can't get you done, you need Jesus. Everybody is approved, okay? Tons of vehicles. Baskin Robbins, baby. We got all the flavors. You want it, you need it, I got it. Come see me. Like the girls on Backpage. Wholesale, not retail. We sell them cheap, stack them deep, get them in, get them gone. Come meet, walk to me, and you're gonna drive home. And as always, good credit, bad credit, slow credit, no license, no problem. And for my Spanish listeners, buen credito, mal credito, no credito, no socio, no problemo. And remember,
Okay, so
Hey, Dylan with Dylan. I'm back at like crack at it.
what's that? The 411 Clinton Highway here, this address is Old Ben Franklin's dealership address. So I just wanted to show that because this is from March 14th. He hadn't even submitted his application to transfer to Old Ben Franklin, and again, he didn't get approved when he did. There's videos almost on a daily basis, all the way back for years. So I'll pull up, I'm not gonna pull up those videos. Like I said, it would take a long time, but here's just some photos showing, this is from January 26, 2022. Somebody's stating if you need a new car, you can go see Dylan Trent at Old Ben Franklin in Knoxville. Again, he didn't have a license there. This was 3 years ago. You can see all of these different pictures of Mr. Trent with what appears to be consumers and their keys or with cars. And that's from January 26, 2022. It's also posted on DWD Motors Facebook page. It can cause confusion to consumers as well, but at no time did he have a license as a dealer or a salesperson. So here's another one all the way back to 2019 at Old Ben Franklin. So it goes on and on. If you'd like to see something in particular, just let me know, or if you have any questions in particular, but I just wanted to show you that.
Commissioner Galvin, I got a question. Can you go back to the main page?
Yes, this is the main page.
And I'm looking at the address right there, 1818 Millbrook Pike. You said there was another address also. So there's two different addresses on that first page. One is for Old Ben Franklin, and the other one's from...
I think 1818 Middlebrook Pike is Hopper Auto Sales, which he used to be associated with.
Okay, and then the other one is Ben Franklin.
Right,
All on the same front page, okay.
right. And then, of course, DWD Motors, which is a different dealership and a different
So-
address.
so-
And that's the application we're talking about.
Gotcha. So, thank you.
Could you click on the mentions tab, please?
Sure. Do you want me to just scroll?
Yeah, and just scroll. I just want to see like
Okay.
kind of like the reach, or as he interacts with consumers on the page, like people tag him and whatnot.
Right. So this is Clinton Highway. I believe that's, yeah, that's Old Ben. They have a few different dealerships, Old Ben does. So that's from 2021. Just another one at Old Ben.
Erica, can you bring me in? I'm a little bit confused with Mr. Thorpe, and then Mr. Trent.
So just to kind of summarize, to bring you back to that, Mr. Trent originally applied for the DWD Motors dealer application. We denied him, and then he appealed, and you upheld that denial. And then I think it was just a couple months, maybe. It was soon after we got this application for the same exact dealership, no changes except for Mr. Tharp was going to be the owner this time. So, there's also just confusion about whether Mr. Trent is going to be running the dealership, whether Mr. Tharp is going to be running the dealership. Up until, yesterday, we didn't even have a license for Mr. Trent, and I believe he's going to be selling cars there. So I just thought it was important for the commission to know the history
Sure.
of possible unlicensed activity by somebody who might be heavily involved in this dealership.
At the July quarterly meeting, I made a statement as to, in 9 months from now, if you'll give it a little bit of time, who did I say that to? Was it Mr. Thorpe?
Mr. Trent.
Trent, okay. And I said, if you would just wait 9 months, get some experience, we would probably be able to approve you at this meeting.
Right.
And then we have all this craziness going on, it looks like to me. Just carry on and keep talking about what we need to know.
I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. It's just a lot of confusion. So I feel like if I give any more information, it's just really duplication of what
Yeah.
you're seeing.
Okay.
It just kind of goes back over the years. And it's more, this is more about giving you the information that we found and letting you decide if you have questions about it, you know, if you feel like it's pertinent to somebody running a dealership or not, if you're comfortable with it. It's really just a presentation of information.
So all this
for you to
information has
consider.
been about Mr. Trent.
Correct.
The application's from Mr. Tharp. You
Correct.
denied Mr. Tharp.
Right.
The basis of the denial for Mr. Tharp was what?
The business relationship with Mr. Trent and the fact that Mr. Trent originally submitted this application. It just seems like Mr. Tharp might just be you know, the front for Mr. Trent to be able to get his license that we originally denied.
And to that, do we know what Tim's Fencing is? Or are you going to talk about that at all?
Tim's Fencing.
Well, Mr. Tharp's email is jamietharp@timsfencing.com, which appears to be a different company.
That might be Mr. Tharp's other business.
That's his current employer, Commissioner Andrews, and you're welcome to address that.
Okay, I think now at this time, we need to hear from Mr. Trent or his group, your attorney.
Yes, sir.
And let him talk to us, and then we'll have questions.
Yes, sir. And I'll do my very best, and I'll try to be brief as I can. But I think you all get the picture that Dylan Trent is making himself a brand. He's been making himself a brand for several years. He's been hiring himself out as a social media promoter to different car dealerships. He's been directing business to these car dealerships through his social media brand. He's been doing this for several years because he had been denied his sales license, so he could not sell cars until he did get his license last year. I asked him briefly about the transfer of his license both from Mo Auto Sales to Hopper and then Hopper to Old Ben Franklin. He wasn't aware that he didn't have a valid license to sell cars. He had given all of his personal information, all of it, and I mean all of it, to Old Ben Franklin. He worked there before previously. Obviously, everybody on this commission, this body, the state, we all know about his criminal past. It is no kind of a secret. And if that didn't get included on his application, and he told me he didn't do the application process himself, that Old Ben Franklin did it for him. And that wasn't uncommon. That had happened when he went from Mo Auto Sales to Hopper, and then again from Hopper to Old Ben Franklin. So the essence of all this is this, and you all need to know this. This is his adoptive father. Jamie Tharp is Dylan Trent's adoptive father. So they don't just have a business relationship, they also have a familial relationship. And Mr. Tharp previously has held a salesman's license from this commission as recent as 6 or 7 years ago, and has sold cars previously in the past. And so once this license got denied last year, and based on what Mr. Trent had been told, they decided to basically regroup and decide how they were going to try to go about obtaining a dealer's license. And maybe if they would have involved counsel previously, things would have gone differently, but we are here where we are today. I think Mr. Tharp is here, welcomes any questions the commission members may have.
Chairman Roberts, I forgot to show the commission one more thing.
Sure.
I've pulled it up. Just some testimonials that I had mentioned. This is one by a dealership who's now closed. It says it was 8 months ago, but it's probably more like 10 months to a year now.
Make that bigger, zoom in.
Yes.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's just basically stating that since they closed their dealership on Clinton Highway, they get referral requests from consumers, and that they can be they refer consumers to DWD. I don't know how that would work because there wasn't a dealership, but maybe they can explain that. Just stating that DWD offers financing options. That's another thing that's in a lot of Mr. Trent's videos, offering credit repair. And if you want to ask him about that, you're welcome to. And then this is just, we've got more from consumers. The best car salesman I know, he may have had a license at that time. But again, this is all under DWD. And I think Mr. Tharp, who's here, states that that he bought a car, came to Dillon for a car back in 2019, just upgraded him, upgraded from him again last year. This is talking about the actual DWD office, just stating that they can't wait till it's done. You can go to Mr. Trent to buy a car. Wonderful shopping experience. Love my Jeep. Thanks so much, DWD Auto. Best place to get a car, DWD. And then just more of similar. Here's they can fix your credit within 60 to 90 days. I'm just not sure who they're referring to. If it's not DWD, I don't know what dealer they're referring to, but it is on DWD's posts. So these are just excerpts that I thought I would show you. The next time I need another vehicle, I'm definitely calling DWD Motors.
And can I just make a quick editorial comment? I know how seriously this commission takes honesty and integrity with regard to its dealers. And we agonized over this. That was one of the reasons, and there's historical precedent for it. It's not the first time that an application has been denied on the basis of mistruths or misconceptions. Most of you are all dealers, and I know how seriously you take that and how seriously you take your interactions with consumers, but also with other dealers to ensure that everybody is on a level playing field. We just felt like the abundance of information after the application came in March for licensure as a dealer, there were too many questions, so we started doing some digging. I will say, Chairman Roberts is right. Back in July, I believe he made a statement that said, let's get some more time under your belt before you start to go out on your own and get the dealer's license. And frankly, had staff gotten that dealer's license application, there probably would have been no questions asked, assuming that all of the boxes were checked and it was, questions were legitimately answered. We take very seriously our jobs, and there's not a single person sitting at this dais that is unavailable ever. So if anyone had reached out to us to ask questions, and I think staff went above and beyond when we got the application for transfer to Old Ben Franklin. It could have been denied outright, and actually this is on Jason. He reached out directly to Old Ben Franklin and said, please, I'm sure this is a mistake, please correct it. And there was no response for almost 30 days. So I apologize, that's just an editorial comment, but I know Commissioner Levy had asked, why we're talking about Mr. Trent when it was Mr. Tharp's application, and it's hard to differentiate between the two because they go hand in hand. So that's all I wanted to say.
Last question. You said Mr. Trent, as of a couple days ago, does have a salesperson's license?
Yeah, as of yesterday, Old Ben Franklin did make the correction after about a month, and we approved it yesterday.
Executive Director Lawrence, is it your belief that after I made that statement in July, that he's been trying to go around different ways to get a license?
I don't feel comfortable making that statement. I mean, I'm just going to say we were surprised when we sent the inspector out and it was the same location with DWD Motors, but a different potential owner. Again, we would have been happy to field all of those questions and answer any questions that anyone may have had. personally, I don't I understand what his attorney is saying in terms of this being a brand, he's selling a brand, but I guess I'm just simple. So when I look at testimonies on Facebook that say, I bought a car from Dylan Trent and he's wonderful, you know, to me that says I bought a car from Dylan Trent. And either that's true or it's false. So that was my understanding.
We can determine that.
Commissioner Galvin, one more question, and what does DWD stand for again?
Do-
Sir?
Dealing with Dylan,
Dealing with Dylan.
the brand.
Mr. Householder, what's your response to all this? How do you explain what's happened, and what are you asking this commission to consider?
I'm asking the commission to consider Jamie Tharp in his application. Obviously, that's not going to happen in a vacuum. I've explained that his adopted son is Dylan Trent. Mr. Trent has been selling cars for the last 11 months with a license. I didn't know anything about the gap in his license because of the transfer to Franklin until I got here this morning. But the reality of it is Jamie Tharp has been selling fence for Tim's Fencing. Commissioner Andrews asked about his email address. He's been selling fence for Tim's Fencing. He's a salesman too. When Dylan had his application denied last summer, they sat down and thought about it, talked about it, and resubmitted the application that Mr. Tharp submitted, which has been denied. Mr. Tharp was going to basically be the hands-on present dealer, run the business end of the business, acquisition, personnel, inventory, those sorts of things, and Dylan was going to sell the cars. That's the essence of their plan. If there are specific questions, we're happy to try to answer those,
Commissioner Vaughn, I have a question for you. So is Mr. Tharp going to leave his current role at the fence company and work full-time at the dealership?
Commissioner Vaughn, you're welcome to address that to him. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I apologize for the misunderstanding that makes up.
We turn your microphone on. It's hard to, we can't hear you. Push the button that's got the little person
Does
on
that
it.
work?
Yes.
Lean toward it.
I want to make one thing very clear. My integrity and my character is not worth a car lot. I pastored a church for 20 years. I've been in the car business since I was probably 19 years old. I've worked every department from finance to management to buying to whatever. So this endeavor is, I retired about 6 years ago from pastoring. And Tim was in my church, and so I have been working from time to time, helping them do designing and et cetera there. And have talked about and helped open another dealership in Knoxville about 2 years ago. And so I had discussed opening a little lot for myself as kind of a retirement type situation. And then when Dylan started doing his thing, and he come back and said that he had been denied, and he brought up, Chairman Roberts, what you had said, which I think is wisdom, to have guidance and direction like that. I've known Dylan ever since he's 12 years old. And I realize there's things that may give you an appearance of him, and I don't blame you. But I know the kid. I know what he was raised in. I know the integrity it took for him to walk away from situations that could have messed him up. As far as the licensing situation, I was there when the judge told him that that would not be on his record. And so I truly believe when he filled that out, that he was thinking it would not be on his record. So, and then as far as the transference of license, when you tell somebody and you go to the dealership, I'm not trying to name names of dealerships, but when you give them your information, That's up to them to make sure that is transferred correctly. As far as myself, when the inspector called me and said, I'm on premises right now, I think it's important to understand that there's no reason for me to sit at an empty building, at an empty lot that does not have a license for somebody just to show up, that doesn't call and make an appointment. I don't think there's anybody in this room that could be expected to do that. Nobody made an appointment. They just said, we're here. I was an hour and a half away because I wanted to be there. I wanted to go through everything to make sure everything was done correctly. He said he's there. I called Dylan and said, would you get over there quickly to meet with this gentleman? Because I can't, because I'm putting my mother in assisted living. No appointment was made. I want to make that very clear. So I'm not signing on a dotted line and letting my name and my character just ride for somebody and say, just go ahead and explode it up. Because I've also hired another gentleman that's going to be handling compliance, that's been a general manager of a dealership before. He's done every aspect of that because I want to make sure compliance is handled correctly. And the only thing I had asked Dylan to do is to do sales training because he is very proficient. His methods may be a little crazy at times, and I accept that, but he is good at that. But I also understand where you're at, looking at the background, saying, hey, this is a kind of iffy situation here. But I'm talking for me as far as what I'm doing, as far as the situation, and that's where I stand on it.
Commissioner Vaughn, would you please answer my question? Are you going to be there?
Yes.
Are you leaving your job at the fence company and you're running this business? Is that
Yes.
your plan?
That's my plan.
And I think I appreciate that background.
Yes, sir.
And I think the questions we've had, you made a few references to Dylan's background. That's sort of off the table. We granted him a license at
Yeah, I
one point in time.
appreciate
We've
that.
gotten past
Yes,
that. And I think the clear direction that the commission gave was, go be a salesperson, let's get some time, get some experience, and then we'll consider you for a dealership. And I think what should have happened, or what we expected to happen, was as he was gaining that experience, he would apply for a dealership application. He would have the space, go through all the process, and we considered that we would approve him. I think it even would have been fine if you guys had partnered up and you had applied for a
Yes.
dealership license and had up the space and gone through the process, and we probably would have approved it. I think what's giving everyone pause is, we said, go get experience as a salesperson at the dealership for which you applied, and it looks as if he just ran his dealership, even though the license didn't ever get issued. And we've had all this unlicensed activity, which seems pretty clear to us. So how do you help this commission get past all of that to where we are today, that it just seems like he just ignored the clear instructions that the commission gave to him?
Well, as far as the unlicensed activity, if he was transferring from one dealership to the other, like Old Ben, and had gave them his information from the first day that he started there, and the lag is, I think she said 30 days, is that correct?
Well, I mean, according to all the videos, it looks like he has been working at Old Ben Franklin and selling cars since at least 2019.
Yeah, off and on.
And I think his question was referring to the DWD reviews and the
Yeah,
sales
the
happening
references
there.
to buying cars from DWD as well.
Well, I know that you had brought up what I had put on there. And if you look at the wording, I didn't say I bought one from Dylan.
No,
said
I was
he
just
had
referring to
located
what's
one.
on the screen now.
Right, right. But that's what I want to make very clear. Locating a car and selling a car is two different things. I remember back when, Lord, this is late 90s, early 2000s, when we started doing greeters with Nissan. And they started having greeters at the dealership. They were not licensed, but they dealt with that. But I think it's important to do everything above board and everything by the book, and that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Were you? Oh, okay. I think to do everything above board and to do everything right, and this is one thing that I want to help him and give him guidance in this. Like I said, I've known him ever since he's been a kid, and I'd love to work with him. I think he has a terrific talent. I think he has a terrific ability. And I think you can research me. You can check me out any way you want to. Get online, check me out any way you want to. I am very credible. And I would like this opportunity and like to do it. And I'll go under any kind of guise, any kind of inspection. Like I said, that's why I've hired a gentleman to just make sure that that compliance is handled. We do everything above board. We do everything by the book. And I've got no problem doing that. I don't care to do a weekly report and a weekly breakdown. I think it's a large misunderstanding. I think mistakes have been made on Dylan's part. I truly agree with you. But I don't think it's grievous enough that we just shut the whole thing down and don't allow me to have a license. If you want me to change the name, that's fine. I've got no problem doing that. If you have a problem with the name, I'll change the name. I've got no problem doing that.
Commissioner Elam, I have a question. During the time that back in 2019 and during moving forward, I know at some point after 24, he got the dealer's license or the salesman's license. So nowhere, because generally salesmen make commission off of sales. So nowhere in that period of time would he have been listed on a document as the salesman, or nowhere would he have ever been compensated commission for any sales?
No, ma'am, not to my knowledge. He was simply driving business to the dealerships that he worked for, doing social media promotions, and doing other business development for them.
Okay, so there would be supporting documentation that he was never paid a commission on any of these vehicles, or that he's listed as a salesman on any of those sales?
Well, to the extent that you can't prove a negative with a document that doesn't exist, I think their documents wouldn't reflect that he sold the vehicles, if that's your question, Commissioner Elam.
Okay.
And I did want to address Commissioner Levy. You mentioned that since he's obtained his sales license, that he sold under the dealership. I think that's the misperception, because the brand is him. And he simply worked at licensed dealers as a salesperson. The persona he carries on online may be grandiose, it may be a lot of puffery, and even mention has been made about, credit rehab. Well, most of the dealers that he's worked for refer people out to third parties for, credit counseling, credit repair, that sort of thing. It's not things that he's done on his own. We did address these, by the way, and I don't know, were the sworn statements provided to Commission?
No, but you're welcome to talk about them.
Okay.
Yep.
The investigator who came out to the scene, to the dealership, John Byers, asked both Mr. Tharp and Mr. Trent to answer questions under oath, which we did. Just for sake of ease, I did, Mr. Trent's was done as a declaration made under penalty of perjury rather than as an affidavit, simply because I didn't have physical access to him to get him to sign it. But at any rate, we did address his questions. There was a question raised about CNC Motors. That was addressed in Dylan Trent's declaration. CNC Motors was owned by Shane Addington, someone that Dylan Trent knew personally. They were driving business to him after they went out of business. They were sending business to him where he was employed as a licensed salesman at a dealership who held the dealer's license. So we have addressed these things to the best of our ability.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thorpe, you mentioned earlier that you did not make the meeting because you had to put your mother in assisted living.
Yes, sir.
And you told Mr. Dillon to come to meet with the inspector.
Right.
You just said that the inspector met with both of them. I believe you just said that when.
Oh, no, so the inspection was for the inspection of the dealership to approve or, deny the dealer application. And then the investigator was when we opened an investigation to look into possible
Okay,
unlicensed
so it's
activity.
afterwards.
And that's, the investigator is a separate.
Okay.
Let me make one comment.
Sorry if there was any confusion, Commissioner Galvin.
Let me make this one comment.
Yes,
I have had talent a brand speak for me in the past. You know, I've hired them to make a commercial, to be a face of the store for, you know, a certain amount of time. Never once did I have them selling cars or getting listed as thanking them for the car they got or any of that. There's something that goes beyond the brand. And I just don't feel good about it. And what I said was, come back, be good at what you do, be a good salesman, come back in 9 months, and you have a great chance of getting a license. And I believe that would have happened today, but I can't be for this.
I agree. My concern too is then this is misleading to the consumers because
Yes.
this is coming across as a dealership, that he is selling these vehicles, he's doing all of that. It's misleading to the consumer.
We
I mean,
have
he
to
can
take
try
care of the
explain it to
consumer.
us, but the consumer, this is a
right.
problem.
It is.
And may I just point out one thing, with regard to the salesman license, and I know that Mr. Tharp has mentioned this, you know, that it's the dealer's responsibility. It is true enough that it is the dealer's responsibility, but it's the salesperson. You can't be a salesperson, a car salesman, and just be a car salesman. You have to be affiliated with a dealership in order to be a car salesman. So
Not multiple,
just,
a
yeah,
dealership.
just one dealership. So therefore, when you move to another dealership, that's when it gets transferred. You know, certainly we can go back and look at Old Ben Franklin over this period of time to determine, you know, if he was employed as a salesperson and, you know, his name would be on documents, or as you've indicated, it's just a, you know, bringing in customers. I just wanted to point out that as a licensed car salesman, you must be affiliated with a specific dealer.
And can you provide a little bit more clarification? Because I know you mentioned that these referrals are speaking on the brand itself, but for example, the review up there, it says, I'm definitely calling DWD Motors, appearing to speak of the dealership that is unlicensed 8 months ago. And so has that been operating as a business, or could you shed a little bit more clarification on that?
DWD Motors, the LLC, exists corporately on the rolls of the state of Tennessee, but has not sold first of all, has not bought the first piece of inventory to sell, and certainly has not sold a vehicle. Now, Dylan Trent has had DWD LLC himself as a social marketing and branding company and promotions company. That LLC has been in business for a few years as well. But as to what a potential or, you know, an apparent consumer has said, I don't know if they were asked to include the DWD moniker in any kind of a review that they might do or anything like that. I don't know.
And so does anybody have any information of where they actually purchased that vehicle at? Because if they believe that they purchased it from Old Ben Franklin, I don't believe that they probably would write DWD Motors in their review of that report. And so we're just looking for a little bit more clarification on if DWD is selling vehicles prior to having a license, and if so, if it's being run by Dylan, how that transfer of ownership is going to change if it were to be licensed under Mr. Tharp.
I can say this. A couple of the testimonials that we've seen so far, one was from a young lady named Desiree Pappas. That is Mr. Trent's girlfriend, and another one was from Mr. Trent's mother. Do you want to address this?
It's just like when you are going to open up a business, you tell everybody go leave a 5-star review. It's just friends and family. That's all that is. Like he said, Desiree Pappas is my girlfriend, and Teresa Chandler, that's my grandmother. She actually purchased that Jeep from Old Ben Franklin, and she actually bought it from another salesman because I wasn't there.
So did you sell them cars?
No, I didn't
So
sell my
that's-
girlfriend a car or my
That's a problem to me
grandmother a car.
too. That's misleading.
I didn't write the reviews. I just told everybody leave a 5-star review.
So Commissioner Galvin, just one other deal. I went online here to your website, DWD Motors. And let me just read this, okay? And this will probably make it clear to everybody. PSA, I am no longer partnered with Harper Auto Sales. This will be my last move. After several tribes and tribulation, I will finally open my own dealership. I will finally open my own dealership in my name, okay? That tells me right there that you're the one that's going to be operating and be the president at your own dealership. To me, that's false leading, false advertising. Doesn't look good.
That was originally the plan, and then, like my dad said, we had talked, and I don't know the first thing about buying cars. I know marketing, I know sales training, and last time I was here, you guys said that I need someone chaperoning me, so that's the whole reason why we did that. And then, like I said, the big confusion is DWD LLC is a marketing company. I hire employees, 1099, that have a salesperson's license. So just like with Hopper, when I was partnered with Hopper, I didn't even really sell those cars. Even though I had a sales license, I had salesmen that I trained. They all had their sales license.
Mr. Trent, can you speak to the actual photo that's up right now, which was 2019?
Yes, my title at Old Ben Franklin was BDC, Business Development Center.
It says, congratulations on the purchase of your new VW Passat from me today at Old Ben Franklin, 2019. Can you just
Yes,
explain
please.
why that wouldn't be misleading and what that means?
No, I completely understand. And another thing I do want to bring up, it says DWD Motors. It used to be Dillon with Dillon. It was changed to DWD Motors when I thought we were going to open the dealership.
I have a question.
Sorry. I had a question for Commissioner Galvin. You would just ask him about what you had found online.
Correct.
Was that posted when his application was pending last year, or was that since? I don't know. I just wanted a time frame on that.
February 26th.
Thank you.
Of 2025, right? Oh, did say.
It's this year.
Question for staff. If Mr. Trent was not here, and we know anything about Mr. Trent, and it's just Mr. Tharp applying for a dealership license, does he qualify for everything that would be required for him to open his own dealership?
I'm sorry, I apologize. Can you repeat the question?
If Mr. Trent is not here today, and we don't know anything about any of this with Mr. Trent, Mr. Tharp's got the pending application. Is there anything, does Mr. Tharp qualify, or would he otherwise have qualified in following all the process to open his own dealership?
Yes. Yes.
So the issue we have here is that there's no reason that we should deny Mr. Tharp. We're just concerned about who the person that's actually going to be doing everything. So I'm confused as to how we're going to be able to deny Mr. Tharp based on what we're disapproving of his choice of employees. I don't know.
Can I speak for just a
Go for
quick
it.
second? We looked at this. There is precedent. In 2015, the commission denied a dealer application from a mother who was seeking to open a dealership on behalf of her son, who had been denied. I don't remember all of the specifics. There was much more fraud involved, obviously, but specifically, TCA 5517-111A says the commission shall prescribe and provide forms to be used for applications for licenses and for the renewals thereof to be issued under the terms and provisions of this part and require all applicants and their manufacturers to provide information touching on and concerning the applicant's character, honesty, integrity, reputation, and business relationships, and the ability as the commission may deem necessary. Now, I believe in 2015, I have no idea, I wasn't around then, and I don't know how much day-to-day the mother was going to have or be involved in this process. It appears that Mr. Tharp has indicated that he is going to be hands-on. I guess I'm too old for Facebook and the whole branding thing, because it screamed fraud to me. And the second paragraph up there says, a big shout out to my girl, Diana Cantrell, for the referral, another $100 coming your way. That's illegal.
Uh-oh,
That's illegal
yeah,
under our statute.
uh-oh.
I think the simple place to be is 9 months ago, we gave pretty clear instructions on what needed to be done to get to where he wants to go, and that didn't happen. And so now we have a clear application, trying to go around all of that. And I think to me, it's what we said should happen hasn't happened yet.
And under that
That's where we are.
statute, that Denise just went through, you have the ability to consider the business relationships involved within the opening of a dealership when you're considering licensing a dealership. So that, based on the information in the past that's happened with this, that's why we want to present all this to you for consideration.
And I also just want to point out that when we originally talked to Mr. Trent regarding a salesperson's license and his first application, we did not know all of this. So I don't know that you would have made the same decision. Maybe you would have, but we were not prompted to look this far into it until we started seeing some things that did not add up. Some dishonesty too. Sounds like it was on the part of Old Ben Franklin, but we had reasons to look a little bit further. But we would have presented this to you if we had it then. So I think that that's also a fair thing to consider.
Well, I don't think that Mr. Tharp, 6 years into retirement, would be opening up a car lot if it wasn't for his son.
You're wrong. But I mean, you can have your opinion, but that, from anybody that knows me or that's been around me, knows that that has been my long-term goal, that when I backed off, because I love cars, I've always dealt with cars. Now, as far as like a large dealership or something like that I've always worked in, no, you all can have that. But 20, 25 cars, something like that, I love it. I live it, breathe it. You know, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to get confused. Like I said, if you need me to change the name, whatever, go through my background and what I've done. Judge me by myself. That's all I'm asking. And you will see the character, the merit, whatever is there.
I don't think we're questioning that.
I don't, maybe you're not, but it is being questioned. And
Well, listen,
that's-
we approve a lot of licenses. I would say our approval rate on denials is over 90%. We probably have over 3,000 licensed salespeople in the state of Tennessee. We don't have as much trouble. I think everybody on this commission is pulling for Dylan. We did when he gave him 9 months to try to get it right. And I was here the day that Mo was here, and he petitioned hard to get him a salesman license. And as soon as he did it, he said, "Can I get my dealer's license? I'll be back." I mean, he just discredited the guy that stood there and defended his honor to try to get him a salesman's license. So we're trying hard here to get this right. We want it right. We're pulling for him. I mean, I was an at-risk kid when I was growing up. I understand what that's like. So I'm pulling for Dylan as well. He's a heck of a salesman. He is a heck of a salesman.
Yes.
I'd love to have him on my staff, but it'd have to be by the right.
Yes, sir.
It'd have to be by the right way. So I think what Ian said and what the chairman gave him back 9 months ago is get it right. Slow down. Get this right. Don't cut corners.
Right.
I mean, that's all this stuff. Listen, we're all pulling for you. We're pulling for him. We're not bad
Thank
people.
you.
We're dealers. You know, we want to see success. We want to see positive results. I track people. When we leave here and we give people's license, I track them just to see they succeed. And it makes me feel really good we made a good decision. I want the same for Dylan. I think we all do. But he's cutting corners, obviously cutting corners.
Well, I think if we were trying to be underhanded, and if we were trying to go around whatever, and I'm not, under no circumstances, there's no way I'd name it DWD Motors. There's no way that I would call him and say, hey, go down and meet with the guy because I can't be there so we can make sure everything, gets approved. I'm not trying to cut corners. I'm not trying to cover anything up or do anything different. I'm not, I'm just an old guy trying to get a license. That's it.
Well, we're sitting in here trying to deliberate, and we're thinking, Mr. Trent is all over the place.
Yes, sir.
Offering, fees to people online. I mean, not even knowing the rules, not even caring enough to check out what's legal or not. I mean, I think that no one here, I can't speak for them, but I would think no one here would have a problem with you. But I'm concerned that he joins you and the consumer gets hurt with bad practices.
Well, and that's one reason that I would enjoy, because we've had talks about that I'm not real comfortable where he's at right now, just to be honest. And I would like to be, like I said, that's why I'm bringing the guy on as far as compliance, so that every deal, everything is done by the letter and is done correctly, so that I can have oversight in that, you know, and that's all I'm asking.
But right now, the application is for a dealership called DWD Motors.
And like I said, if you need me to change the name, I don't care to change the name. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to hide nothing. But if it would make the council feel better, if the name was changed and there's some kind of oversight that you guys want done by the inspectors, I'm good with that. I've got no problem. I'll do whatever you ask me to do and stay under whatever purview that you need me to do.
So I find this very problematic. I mean, it's probably not the right legal term. It'll probably drive the lawyers here crazy. But if we're talking about buying a car instead of opening a dealership, I think my guys would call this a straw purchase. It is, I find it very problematic, and I don't think I can sign off on it.
That's exactly what I was about to say, is straw purchase. I make a motion that we uphold the denial of the dealer license.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Executive Director?
I'd just like to add another comment. I mean, I understand what he's trying to do. I get it. So the Chairman Roberts offered you a deal, Dylan, back 9 months ago. And he said, get this right, clearly establish something. And I just want to reiterate that. You know, if this is what you really want to do, and you want to open a car lot, Trent, Dylan, you go get a job selling a car somewhere else and do what Chairman Roberts asked you, be the good salesman you are, establish a good pattern, a program, and then you can change your license to the new dealership. I'm just saying, we're all pulling for you here. It hadn't been a good pathway to now. So
I completely understand that, but you guys said to sell cars for 9 months as a salesman. That's what I've done.
And do it right. You're not doing it right.
one dealership.
And you're talking about paying bird dogs.
If we look into the future, a year from now, right, and we have a pending application from Trent Motors LLC to open up a new dealership, but we meet the new compliance person, I don't see any reason why that application gets denied. And then maybe even in that same meeting, Dylan applies for, or I guess wouldn't even be that way. Anyway, around that same time, there's an application from Dylan to transfer his salesperson's license over to Trent Motors, and we see this record of complete, compliant sales for whichever dealership he's with right now, which I presume is old Ben Franklin. There's no reason why that transfer is not going to happen. So right now, the motion is, does DW Motors, as owned by Mr. Trent, does that happen? And right now, there's a motion to say that doesn't happen. But a year from now, I don't see any reason why all of this can't happen if everyone does everything that they're supposed to do and has been instructed.
And actually, let me ask this, Denise, Mr. Thorpe can apply under a different name, different circumstances, anytime he wants.
That's absolutely true. However, every dealer has to have at least one salesperson. And so a salesman affiliated with that entity would have to be licensed. When you leave a dealership, Hopper, for example, they notify us and your license is terminated. So it's not like you hold on to that license and then just decide to go to Old Ben Franklin or somewhere else. You have to do what you did and ask Old Ben Franklin to transfer your license. Honestly, I know that you feel like we're picking on you, and we are absolutely not. It was curious to us when all of this started happening and we saw the same address, the same name, yet a different owner, and it just looked like, oh, they're gonna turn me down, so I'm gonna let somebody else do it in my name. And
And I just need to go back to the phone call because back to the first phone call when I talked to somebody and I asked, do I need to get a sales license first or a dealer license? And they said sales license. And Mo, when he came up here, because you made the comment of it was disrespectful to Mo, but when he came up here, we already knew the game plan. He was helping me and I was helping him. I was helping bring him business and he was going to help me get my sales license and then to get my dealer license. And the only reason I got my sales license first, which that's the whole reason you guys denied my dealer license in the first place, was because the lady on the phone that I talked to said, yes, you can get your sales license and then your dealer license. It was under no type of to defraud or anything like that, for one. For two, when I talked to the Barry Whitson, I asked him, I said, last time they accused me of being dishonest, I don't want any dishonesty. I said, do I need to put it in my name? Do I need to put it in my dad's name? Do I need to put it in both names? His exact words was, if you go anywhere on there, they're going to deny you. You just stay as a salesperson, put it in his name. And I said, I don't want to be dishonest here. And I double backed. And that's when he said it again. And that's the whole reason we went this route. And then go back to the year ago. You said, stay as a salesperson, learn the sales, and do it the right way. Other than, you know, me changing the name to DWD Motors when I thought the dealership was going to get approved and it was later denied, I haven't done anything other than that. And the $100 referral, that was a thing that another dealership did, and I didn't know that you couldn't give a referral. But that was in 2019. Nothing in the past year I've done other than sell cars with a sales license. I went to Mo, I had a sales license. Road Ready, I had a sales license. Hopper Auto, I had a sales license. O'Ben, I had a sales license. Every dealership I went to, I gave them my ID, I gave them my employee's ID, their social, and we were licensed salespersons. It's DWD LLC Marketing. That is my company. There's several other marketing companies that does the same exact thing, and that's what I do.
Well, there's no problem with a marketing company, but you can't sell cars.
No,
And
for the past
chop
year,
from store to store doing that. If you did it for one store, you're your own brand in your own dealership. That's okay. You can sell cars that way, but you cannot do it for multiple locations and get people mixed up. That's where it's wrong. And you can't certainly do bird dog fees.
So I understand the bird dog fee. I haven't done that. That was a thing 6 years ago. What I'm talking about is this traveling sales guys. That's where I got the idea. Are they not legal to go to different dealerships if they have their sales license and sell
No,
cars?
they have to get licensed in that one store.
Exactly. Every store I've been to, I've been licensed. Every one. I give them my information and they license me.
And have you received compensation for vehicles that you have sold?
For the past year, yes.
So if we went to Old Ben Franklin.
Now, just in all honesty, after hearing everything, this was 6 years ago. I was young. I didn't know anything about the car business. My title was
During
BDC.
the past 12 months, if we went to Old Ben Franklin and pulled deal files, we'd see your name
Correct.
on several different deals that were made. And they would coincide with the specific period of time that you were actually licensed with Old Ben Franklin.
No, he's never had a license at Old Ben Franklin.
I should currently have a license
As
because
of
the second.
yesterday.
Huh?
As of yesterday, before yesterday, you have never had a license at Old Ben Franklin.
Okay.
They submitted it.
I understand
on
that,
your
but I
behalf.
don't submit that. Before I went there, 2 days before I went there, I sent them my social and my ID so I could be licensed. So that's not even on me. I don't
Did
submit the
somebody give
license.
you your dealer or your salesperson license for Old Ben Franklin?
What do you mean?
Do you have a
Do you
copy of
have
it?
one? Did you ever get one
A physical copy.
for Old Ben Franklin? What made you think you
should
had
be.
one?
Because I gave them my information. It usually takes like 24
I
hours.
think
and you
that's
get
just, that's an example of the issues we're worried about. You think that
Chairman
that
Roberts.
is giving you a salesperson's license, that's a problem.
Well, that's very common. That happened to me. I
To
never-
think you have one when nobody's given you one?
No, not, when we would go to a dealership, I worked at the same place. They said, we need your information for your salesperson's license. And then that's very much a common practice.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
I just feel like we're talking in circles right now, and
Okay.
we are circling and ended up in the same spot. So
You want to call the question?
I'm calling the question.
Okay.
I just have one question before we go. So for the next year, am I allowed to go to different dealerships as a marketing company, my LLC, and sell cars with a valid sales license and market and brand? That's my question.
No,
Maybe I should have
not
asked that a
unless you
year
have
ago.
a salesperson's license with that dealership.
100%. And if you look,
Each
Hopper
store.
Auto, every
Each-
dealership I've worked at, they've had a sales license except Old Ben, and that's not on me. I don't.
You get one sales license at a time.
Correct.
So when you
yes.
go do one,
Yes,
you've got to get another one when you go to someplace else.
I made a motion.
And how long does it typically take to get a sales license? 24
You
hours?
could discuss this with them after the fact. Let's go ahead and we've had the question called. Let's go ahead and have a vote. Executive Director Lawrence, will you call for the vote?
The motion is to uphold the denial of the license made by Commissioner Vaughn and seconded by Commissioner Andrews. Commissioner Levy? Votes aye. Commissioner Elam? Votes aye. Commissioner Rydell? Votes aye. Commissioner Copenhaver? Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin? Votes aye. Commissioner Norton? Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens? Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Votes aye. And Chairman Roberts.
Aye.
The denial is upheld.
And you could call Executive Director Lawrence and talk about these innuendos of what next time you can apply and things like that. She'll be glad to give you that info. Okay? We need to move on with the meeting.
Yes, sir.
We're ready for the director's report.
Yes, sir, I apologize. I think the next thing on our agenda is the director's report, which you guys have in front of you. As you'll notice, we have 18,800 salespeople statewide, 3,300 licensed dealers, and then the numbers are fairly steady throughout. I think that Commissioner Andrews made the comment at our legal committee meeting, which I want to echo, that we have closed a significant number of complaints, and we are very appreciative of legal's efforts in that regard. We are currently still collecting all of our annual sales reports. Obviously, there's a late fee that is assessed at this time, so that will, those numbers, we'll probably get the final of those numbers maybe by the July meeting, or at least as close to final as we can get. Just an update on our fee rules. Though I had high hopes, it looks like it will probably be August or September before they will go into effect. I will absolutely send an email to all dealers advising them of the fee increase. We'll post something on our website, the new fee schedule. They are actually at the AG's office, and then they have to go to the Secretary of State's office, where they must stay for
90 days.
90 days. So it's looking like an August or September implementation. I wanted to let you guys know we posted several bulletins to our website that we've had really, really good response from. One was on the auction issue that we had a couple of meetings back about how if you are an auction and you want to have a dealer function at the auction as well, you have to have a separate license for that. And I've gotten some good feedback. We got several calls for clarification. Also in the recall database, I think a lot of people were just unfamiliar with that. So I'm happy that we provided that. We also updated our website so that you can literally click on a link. I can't tell you how many, these are about the only public records requests I get, which are for a list of statewide dealers. So we've updated the link for the public. You can click on it and you get everything, the name, the address, the date they were licensed, anything you could want to know, county, city, state, zip. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. Jason and I are attending the clerks conference, as I mentioned earlier, second or third week of May, and we're going to try to sit down with revenue and talk about some of the issues that we've all discussed as ongoing, multiple easy tag issuance and titling issues. And I think that's all.
Okay. We have a motion to adopt the director's report.
Second, Commissioner Vaughn.
Any further discussion? If you'll call the roll, Director Lawrence?
Motion to adopt the director's report made by Commissioner Norton and seconded by Commissioner Vaughn. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Elam? Votes aye. Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Copenhaver?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin? Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Evans? Votes aye. And Chairman Roberts.
Aye.
You've adopted the director's report.
Okay, on to legal. Legal case report. I guess Chairman Kramer, if you will start us on that.
Yeah, we met to, we had one adoption to the, or amendment to the legal report. I guess we need to review that.
22.
Yeah, she'll just give us a synopsis now.
Can someone turn off their mic? Okay, for the legal report, there was just one change, and that is to number 22, case number 2024064841. And the commission decided on a $1,000 civil penalty for misuse of a dealer's tag instead of the original $5,000. And other than that, it's no change.
Move to
Commissioner
adopt the
Vaughn,
legal
so moved.
report.
Second.
Sorry. Commissioner Andrews, move to adopt the legal report as presented, or as amended, I guess.
Commissioner Vaughn, you want to second it?
Sure, thank you, yes.
Okay, any further discussion? Will you call roll vote?
The motion is to adopt the legal report as amended by the legal committee, made by Commissioner Andrews and seconded by Commissioner Vaughn. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Elam?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Copenhaver?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Votes aye. And Chairman Roberts? Votes aye. You've adopted the legal report. Real quickly, I'll just go, you want to do it? Okay. Real quickly, they adjourned yesterday, hallelujah. I guess sometime around 7 or 8, I finally got bored. There are a couple of bills that do have some impact on us. There is Senate Bill 660 was signed by the governor on April the 11th. I was really excited about this. This is a bill that will allow county clerks to request an adjacent county to assist them in titling and registration if they're unable to do that service. Like I said, I was really excited by that, but apparently it's more in reference to natural disasters, weather-related events. I specifically asked if this might provide some relief for the Shelby County issue and was told by the Department of Revenue that wasn't the intent. Who's to say, maybe we can look to that. So.
Please, it is. It does.
Exactly.
It rains a lot in Memphis.
Hey,
There's been some flooding.
we did have flooding.
Yeah, that's right. We are, yeah.
Also, the bill that passes every year to allow for the Chattanooga charity auction for antique vehicles and proceeds going to Le Bonheur has passed. And again, that's over a specified period of time each year. There was one administration bill this year that has some impact on us. It's called the Less is More Act. And the part that affects the Motor Vehicle Commission is that instead of having 9 dealer members, 1 from each Grand Division, we will going forward be able to appoint 9 dealer members, 3 from each Grand Division. And I misspoke earlier. The 9 dealer members that it currently is is specific to each congressional district. That's simply been changed to say, let's just get 3 from each grand division. It makes it a lot easier for us, frankly. The lines get redrawn a lot, and it has passed, and it was scheduled for the Senate. I know it passed. It passed. I'm sure it's headed to the governor for his signature. That's Senate Bill 1316. There were some changes made to that bill last year on booting. They were technical in nature, but my understanding, based on testimony, was that the only people that can now boot, Tim can correct me if I'm wrong, are if it's on private property, and there are certain parameters. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, there was other changes.
Okay, well, that was kind of the most important. And then, y'all won't know that this is the bane of my existence, but this is the bane of my existence, because I never talk about it. There's this bill this year, Senate Bill 728, to authorize, sort of clean up the statute in terms of where all-terrain vehicles can operate. The only reason this affects us, and the reason that I watched it, is because we are constantly asked if people who sell ATVs have to have a dealer license. And thankfully, this bill makes it clear that they can only be operated, it makes a lot of changes to make it consistent with when these things can operate on county roads. That, if it operates on a county road, then that triggers the registration and titling. When registration and titling are triggered, that would then in turn trigger our requirement that you become a dealer. But this doesn't say that. It just says we're going to make it consistent that, you know, you can operate on county roads if A, B, C, D, E. So we would only be concerned if an ATV dealer were selling ATVs to operate only on the roads for road purposes, and then we would be required to license them. The reason this is the bane of my existence is because you can imagine Home Depot, Lowe's, Sam's, they all sell ATVs. That it would be a nightmare. And so it's kind of good, but that's that. Catalytic converters, a new bill passed making it punishable by imprisonment as opposed to just a fine if you keep stealing those things. Again, something that only touches us peripherally, but that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything? Tim, I know. Well, nothing that really touches us directly, not like electronic titling.
It's got some changes for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else from legal? On legislative updates, there's nothing else. So we need to vote on update. It's just our advice. Okay?
Information
All right.
only.
We can be ready for an adjournment.
I think
Anything else?
public comment.
Public comments, okay. Is there any? If not, we're free to go for adjournment. Okay. Any further-
Second.
Anybody, who seconded it?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah.